Hey, welcome to my new video. Today I'm going to show you how to make these 3D pills in Blender filled with particles inside, which are made entirely in geometry nodes. So let's dive into it. As always, for the step 0, which is optional, reach for some references that you like from your favorite source. And don't be afraid to be selective while looking for references. It is good to be inspired here, but if you have already a good vision of what you are about to make, stick with it. Also, for your best performance and orderness, try to put them all together in one place. For example, PureRef works good for me. Now let's make the exterior of the pill. So open Blender, add a cube, and add a subdivision surface modifier of level 2 and a cast modifier to match the perfect sphere shape. Apply those modifiers and in edit mode select 1/2 and extrude it. You can use some references in the viewport to match the proportions. Once you are happy with the proportions, add an edge loop in the center and then extrude the 1/2 of the pill. Make sure that you are extruding along normals with Alt E. If you want to add another subdivision surface, use creases to maintain the sharp edges. Now we have the exterior and we have to make the inside with the geometry nodes. So create a new geometry node group and add mesh to volume node. And also add one join geometry node. The mesh to volume node will be used as a distributor for our new particles that will be distributed directly into the volume. I'm going to add a transform node which will be used later. You can also add a value node to drive the voxel size for the best resolution. Now we actually need to distribute the points inside the volume. We will convert the point to the instances while we will be distributing our particles. So make those points and plug them into the join geometry node. Now you have to scale the points down because otherwise it will be intersecting with the pill's geometry. Now I don't know why it is like that, but the distribution of the points is not perfectly centered. So I have to offset them by the transform node. Also scale down the instances on the x-axis. Now we will be adding instance on points node. Then we will make some place to another node. This node will be actually the particle that we will be instancing. I like spheres, so we will be using spheres as an instance objects. And you can also shade them smooth. Now we will scale them down to fit the inside of the pill. Now you can play with the distribution seed, density and also a distribution type. If you feel like you want to adjust the scale or something about the instances, add scale instance node. You can play with the scale and also with the position of the particles. Now you have the pills and also the particles, so you will connect them with the join geometry node. Now if you want to separate the particles so they have their own material, add a set material node and select what material you like. Last thing I almost forget to do with the pill is to add thickness, which can be done with the solidify modifier, but since I am in geometry nodes, I want to make it procedurally here. So add extrude mesh, uncheck individual and decrease the offset scale. Extruding is the first part, the second is connecting the extruded geometry with the base object to define the normals and close the geometry. Last step is adding merge by distance, which will eliminate intersecting geometry. Now let's make the shading part. The capsule itself will have two materials. The biggest side with the visible inside will be transparent and the second side will have solid albedo texture. So go to material properties, create two materials and ideally name them to avoid confusion and also to keep order in your material library. With two materials ready, we need to now define where on the 3D model the materials should be placed. So in edit mode select the first half and apply the selection to the transparent material. Then invert the selection with Ctrl E and do the same thing for the second half. Let's make the transparent part first. We won't be using principled or glass BSDF because we will make our own shader. First delete the principled BSDF. Add transparent and glossy BSDF and mix them up with the mix shader. Make sure that the transparent BSDF is on the top, otherwise it won't work. Now we need to add another mix shader with transparent BSDF that will be connected to the second mix shader with the rest of the nodes. The factor of the second mix shader will be driven by shadow ray in light path node. With this node setup we are halfway there. Now we need to make a node group for the factor of the first mix shader. Now the next step is adding a layer weight and connect the facing output to the new math node. On the math node select add operation with the number 0.75. The output of the math node will be used as a threshold for the first mix shader. Set the roughness of the glossy shader to 0, or you can set it a little bit higher if you want more plastic look-like material. Our transparent material is done by now, and if you compare it to the glass BSDF, it is rendering faster, and from my own perspective, it's also more photorealistic. This can come handy if you are rendering animations with glass. This is more faster and you will save some time. Also, Blender's built-in initial white value is not 100% white, so you have to check if all white values are set up on max. Okay, so now we have the transparent part done. Now let's make the second half that will have solid color. You can just add RGB node or just change the color in the principled BSDF shader and adjust the roughness. But for my project I want my pills to be textured, so I'm going to add an image texture. Work with textures generally means unwrapping the mesh of the 3D model, so just do some easy mark simming on your topology to mark the places when the model should be cut. Then select all geometry and unwrap the mesh. You can also make some variations with different colors. Your pills are now complete, so you can save them for later, or you can do some interesting renders and scenes. This tutorial was shorter than the previous one, but I hope you liked it either way. So thanks for watching, I hope you learned something today. If you did, you should subscribe for upcoming video that will be even more special. See you until next time.